Hi everybody, today we're going to demonstrate how Manifold Future can work with really big tables. There's a myth getting started because of the way Manifold presents certain things that, tables can only show 50,000 records and that's all you can work with at a time. That's utter nonsense, so let's put that to rest by taking a look at this video. We're looking at Manifold Future right now, and all this works in Future Viewer, also the free viewer, so you can download the free viewer and try that as well if you like at no charge. We're looking at a data set for Boston, which is the PBF, the native data set from OpenStreetMap for the Boston region. It's a rather large data set. Well, not all that large. It's 311,000 objects, so that's not millions of objects, but it's it's big enough so that it's respectable. And if we zoom out here, zoom to fit, we can see that we see the Boston, Massachusetts ways drawings, which is all the areas and lines that are associated with the Boston region. And it's all here. Zoom into Quincy here, and we can see that it's really all there for the entire Boston region. We'll go back here to the more the center of Boston, where we can see the Boston Common and the Public Garden, and part of the port here, Faneuil Hall and all that. And what we're going to do when we work with this Massachusetts Ways table is that you can see that it's a mix here. It's got all the lines here, and it's got all the tables there. We can click Control-N to jump to the end. And this little icon down here shows us that there's more to go. It shows only the first 50,000 records because doesn't really make sense to show a table larger than you can possibly browse through all at once. This is really just a sampler. If you want to see everything, you can do that. So for example, like right here, let's create a filter, add filter. So now it's only going to show us those areas those records that are for geometry areas. If we Control-N, we can jump to the end. We can see, okay, there's still more. If we want to see absolutely everything, we can click View, Filter, and Filter Fetched Records Only. So let's apply it to everything. Manifold .map format is so incredibly fast that you're not going to notice much of a difference, even when you have very many records. You will if you start downloading billions of records from the web, where web data sources aren't as fast, but you won't notice it here. And at all times, we are working with absolutely everything in the data. So let's do a quick example of how we might apply selection and so forth to absolutely everything in the data, even though we're only seeing part of it here in the drawing, or we look at only part of it, one screen at a time in the table. And what we're going to do is we're going to select all the lines, and we're going to put them in a separate drawing, and then we're going to select all the areas and put them in a separate drawing as well. So let's start with the lines. To select all the lines, we'll use the Select pane right here. Scroll down here to select lines. Click, and it shows a preview of what it's going to select. If I zoom to fit the whole thing, we can see that, yes, indeed, all the lines, no matter where you go here, they're all selected. And it doesn't matter whether they're in view or not in view. If they're in the data set, they're selected. Now, if we want to create a separate drawing for all those, the easiest way to do that is to use the Edit Query function. And what do we do here when we click on a template lines? It can preview this. We can either replace the selection live in the drawing window, or we can write some SQL for us, clicking Edit Query. And this is what it's doing. Select everything from Boston, Massachusetts ways where geom is line. So to turn this into a drawing, we select Into, and let's call that new table Boston Lines. So we've now just edited the query that Manifold wrote for us. Select everything into Boston Lines from that table where the record is a line. Click Run, and it processes that. So you can see it took it that long, which is basically instantaneous, to create a new table called Boston Lines. If I want to create a drawing from that, I right-click on that table and I choose New Drawing. And I'm going to use the geom field, and the coordinate system is pseudo-Mercator. I'm going to confirm that. One issue with PBF from OpenStreetMap is that it does not encode projection data. You kind of have to add that. That's okay. It's easy to do, as we've just seen. Now click Create Drawing. So I just created a new drawing, which is all the lines in Boston. And it was that quick to do. Let us now create all the areas in Boston, separate drawing for all the areas in Boston. We're going to extract them from all these Massachusetts ways here. And to do that, we'll use the Select pane again, and we'll choose Areas, which, as you might guess, does indeed select all the areas. Let's zoom to show that we have selected all the areas no matter where we are, like way up here and wherever that may be. All the areas are indeed selected. And to put those into a separate table, this is just a preview in blue, but to put those in a separate table, again, I'm going to click Edit Query. And here, once more, I'm going to modify the query a bit. I select Into, let's see, let's call that Boston underscore areas. And I'll click the run button, see how long that takes. It'll be a little bit slow since there's more areas than lines, and they're more complicated objects. There, it's done, 270,000 areas. Put into a new drawing, which we look here in the project pane, a new table rather, called Boston areas. Let's create a drawing from that. And yeah, we'll confirm that it's sudo Makeda. Create drawing. Done. Now let's turn this guy off and let's drag and drop the Boston areas drawing into that map. Okay, and now let's drag and drop the Boston lines drawing into that map. So now we have two separate layers, one of which is just the areas and one of which is just the lines. Let's zoom in here further to where we were. And let's format these a little bit so we can see better what we're looking at. So to do that, we'll use the Style panel. And let's format the lines by, well, let's use the ID field. And we will use a color brewer palette. We'll use a spectral palette. From long experience, I know that this palette looks better if you reverse the color orders. Update style. And there, we just updated all the lines to use that. Let's also make the lines a little bit thicker. Let's change them to 2.5 points. Actually, let's make them 2 points. A little bit too thick. There. And now I'll do a little trick. What I'll do is I want to put some black lines alongside these lines. So what I'll do is I'll copy the drawing and I'll paste it. And here's it's called drawing 2. I'll drag and drop that into the map. And I'm going to format drawing 2 a little bit differently. I'm going to format it so that it's all black. And I'll make that 3 points thick. There. And that gives a nice little kind of outline effect to those lines. And while we're at it, let's format the areas. And we will format the areas using the ID field also, for lack of anything better. And we will format them using, let's use the Pastel B color brewer palette. There. That's a nice appealing display. And if we like, we can zoom in and out. We can turn on the darker background. I like using the canvas world dark gray base background. It's a pretty background. We can turn off the various layers here to see what we're dealing with. That's just the black lines. So this is the canvas world dark gray base background. Here are the black lines that were added as an outline, and here are the lines drawing. And here are the areas. If we like, we can change the transparency of the areas a bit. Let's change those to, let's make it 65%. So they're not quite so prominent. And that's how we can manipulate data from OpenStreetMap. Manifold is happy to read OSM, O5M, PBF, which are all the native formats for OpenStreetMap. Those come in with some phenomenal complexity in terms of how all these things are packaged. That's how OpenStreetMap works internally. But you can work with it with very high speed here entirely within Manifold, and extract whatever you want out of it. As you can see, it was very quick and easy to extract just the areas, just the lines, or whatever that we wanted. So there you go. That's how you do all that. And I'd like to thank everybody for watching today. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and we hope you see you back soon here on the Manifold channel. So thanks for watching, and goodbye from Manifold Futureland. Well, that was fun. If you want to see more, visit us at www.manifold.net. As always, Manifold delivers the world's most advanced, highest quality spatial products for GIS and DBMS at a low price that you can afford. Once again, that's manifold.net. See you soon.